We're back. Been a couple of weeks, had some family fly down, spent some time with them, took a little vacay. We also went up to Georgia, helped my brother-in-law finish off a fence and all that good stuff. Had all my nieces and my nephew together in one room, which was chaotic to say the least, but so much fun, so much love. It was good times, but we're back to the grind, we're back to the hustle. Let's talk about it. All right, folks, today's video is a little bit different. It's gonna be more of a conversation piece, maybe a long form video about the NAR settlement. I've really been holding off on putting up a NAR settlement video because of two particular reasons. One, I'm still considered newer in the industry, and we've got folks in our brokers that have been here 20 plus years, 30 plus years, and I really wanted to take advantage of their perspective and their knowledge when it came to making a NAR settlement video. We have weekly meetings that they attend, so it's a really good place to just pick their brain, especially folks who've pretty much seen it all when it came to the real estate industry, and see their take on it and what their 2 cents are. Also, because of all the changing of the terms and the changing of the forms and the restrictions and all that good stuff, I wanted to make sure that it was in its final form before I made my assessment or video or any type of public content on the NAR settlement, which it looks like we're here. August 17th is the deadline, everything to be implemented and all that good stuff. So let's talk about it. Let's have a quick chat. I'm gonna talk buy side, I'm gonna talk sell side, and I'm gonna talk consumer on both sides as well. And hopefully you'll find some information or some helpful hints or tips or anything that you can off of this video. Let's get into it. First things first, let's talk sales side. Basically, when you break it down, you are no longer allowed to offer compensation through the MLS. So we're so used to going into the MLS, seeing a house and seeing how much they're gonna offer for the buy side and how much they're gonna offer for the sell side. That information will no longer be there. Now, at the beginning, it was no telling, make sure you don't put it on the title, don't try to get clever on the description, don't do any of that. That still stands. So you can't, instead of an E, put a 3 like they do on some of the internet names and stuff like that, and people can understand, oh, they're paying 3%. That they obviously have their algorithm plus their people that's gonna be looking for things like that. You can't be doing those clever little things. You also can't offer it as a form of credit or anything like that, because credits go to the home seller or home buyer when it comes to their closing. So you can't be like, hey, we're offering 3% of the home's value as a credit to the buyer. That goes to the buyer, not the buyer's agent. So you can't do that either. Now they went a little bit back on it. So they're gonna implement a field that allows you to either say yes or no, Y or N, whether you're offering compensation. Now the important thing here, whether you select yes or no, it's still 100% negotiable, which is one of the beautiful things about real estate. It's one of the things that I love about real estate. Everything's negotiable. I'm sure some of you folks who are agents for quite some time have had a listing or on the buy side where there was a weird contingency or a weird stipulation to get the deal to close. I've heard one, or I had one, where my buyers, when they saw the house, they fell in love with a electric fireplace. It was really pretty. You can get it anywhere. You can get it on Amazon, you can get it wherever you want. But the way it was placed and the way it was colored, they just wanted it. So in the contract, we had to put, hey, we'll offer you X, Y, Z, Z, but you gotta leave me that electronic fireplace. It's a great thing about real estate. Everything's negotiable. So same goes for if you put no, like we're not offering compensation, that's still negotiable. You can still talk to the selling agent directly and figure out some form of compensation for your buyer's agent. So let's unpack that just a little bit and dive a little deeper. So I've seen both sides from my research at the brokerage and other brokerage. You've got agents who are business as usual, offer a split, even Steven, both sides get 2.5. For example, if the commission is 5%, everybody gets 2.5. I've had folks on the complete other side of the spectrum where I'm not gonna offer anything. If they want some form of compensation, they can ask for it themselves and we'll negotiate and they'll get what they get. I've also seen the kind of middle ground of, yes, let's offer a compensation, but as a selling agent, I should get more than them because I'm working harder than them. If we're gonna offer 5, I'm gonna take 3, I'm gonna give them 2. My personal opinion is business as usual. Maybe it's my ignorance of not having that long of a career in real estate where I believe, being on both sides, I've been on the sell side, I've been on the buy side, that we both technically can work just as hard. Sure, we've had some clients that are easy peasy lemon squeezy. On the buy side, you've got folks who in a week find the property of their dreams. They put in an offer. We're on the door, we're on the table within 30 days. Hip, hip, hooray. We've also had those clients that take up all of your time, energy, and effort, and we're months on in and they still haven't found the property that they want, and now they're contemplating that they may want to just rent or whatever it may be. We've had all those situations. That's what we signed up for, to help people find their homes or to help people sell their homes. Same on the sales side. You've got clients that are extremely cooperative. You've got clients that understand that you're a professional and the advice and information that you bring to the table is that of a industry professional. And you've also got clients who kind of feel like they're just as educated as you are, and they can, they can weigh in as much as you can as far as what the house is going to be, done with or anything like that. There's also clients who just have, really, really, really extraordinary demands and things of that nature. So we've dealt with, difficult situations on the buy side and on the sell side, and we've dealt with easy situations on the buy side and on the sell side. And again, it may be just my ignorance of not having that many years into the industry, but I believe an even split is fine. Why not? Why not offer an even split? But everyone's entitled to their opinion. As far as the sales side, that's kind of what we're going to kind of sum it up all. You can no longer put how much you're going to compensate. You can put whether you are or you're not going to compensate in the Y or N field that they're going to put in the MLS. And even if you put no, it's still negotiable. The buyer's agent can still come to you and try to negotiate some form of compensation so their client does not have to pay them out of pocket. Now, on to the other side of the spectrum, the buyer's agent. So as far as the National Association of Realtors, they have implemented or put in place a buyer's agreement. Now, people think this is something new. It's not new. Buyer's agreements have been out there. I usually have like these one-time buyer agreements that I do for my open houses, where if somebody walks in and they're interested in the home and they don't have representation, they can go ahead and put their number, their signature down on this buyer agreement. And if they do make an offer onto the property because, they lost my number or they try to circumvent you, you can still, claim some form of compensation through that. There's also been buyer agreements where you come into an agreement with your client that you're going to show them houses, and if they purchase any of these homes that you showed them, or they purchase a home in that time period, you get paid a compensation. Buyer agreements are not new. They're now made mandatory. So before you go show houses, before the conversation went, ring, ring, how you doing? You wanna go see some houses? Excellent. Have you been pre-approved, or do you have a pre-qualification letter? You do, wonderful, let's get to work. Now it's the same thing, but instead of saying, let's get to work, when can we meet? Let's discuss my buyer agreement, sign the paperwork, and then go see some houses. Just one little extra step. Again, let's unpack, let's dive a little bit deeper into it. So you now have to have a buyer's agreement. I'm not opposed to a buyer's agreement. I think it protects buyer's agents a great deal. So I'm all for it. I'm also not the type of person that runs away or fears any type of uncomfortable conversation with their clients. We have to be 100% honest. We have to be open with our clients. So a buyer agreement gives us that opportunity to be 100% open of, hey, I'm going to be your agent. When folks ask, do you have an agent? You already know the answer is yes. I've come in, I have a contract agreement with Angel, and he's going to be my real estate agent. So any type of communication that you need to do, you can communicate to him. Here's his contact info. I also find that it protects you in a sense of the compensation itself, because you can now have that conversation of, hey, the climate nowadays has homes that don't offer compensation, and this home might fit all of your needs. Now, me as an agent, I'm gonna fight for you, and I'm gonna try to secure my compensation from the seller. If I'm not able to do that, then I will be asking for compensation out of pocket from you. You can have that conversation from the beginning instead of having a conversation at the end of the deal and possibly breaking the deal because you're asking for compensation, a month into this client realtor relationship. The other thing that we need to unpack on the buyer's agent is exactly what I said. I'm going to try to secure my compensation from the seller's agent. So the listings that offer compensation, you go ahead and have a conversation with the seller's agent and see how much you're going to secure for yourself. If the listing does not offer compensation, then you go ahead and try to negotiate yourself some compensation. And if you're not able to do so, then you already have an agreement with your client that they're going to pay you out of pocket. And there you go. Is there a possibility that can cause rifts between clients and buyers agents? Yes, it absolutely can. It's something else that we now have to navigate and negotiate. And in all honesty, when things like this happen, when big changes happen in any industry, you will have the folks who cut rope and go. You'll have the folks who stick it out for a little bit and then they just can't deal with the change and then they go. And then you got the folks that will stick around because they're able to adapt. As far as a buyer's agent, I implore everyone to adapt. I implore everyone to this now becomes part of your practice. Role play it with your friends. If you already do your objection handling and you already do your cold calling role play, you already do your listing presentation role play, add this to that role play. Add how are these conversations going to go? And as your fellow agents, they need to challenge you on that, give you some of those objections that they may have heard of already or that they can possibly run into, so everybody's better prepared. Now it's time to talk about the consumers. Dear consumer, please realize that you are at the core of everything that's happening here. You are not just a bystander. Ultimately, these rulings and these proceedings are done to protect our consumers, because that's the whole reason of why you're getting an agent, is to protect your best interest. Whether it's on the buy side, whether it's on the sale side, it does not matter. The whole reason, or the core reason of why you get yourself a real estate agent or realtor, is to protect you and help you achieve your goal in the best possible way. If you're on the buy side, a realtor can help you navigate contracts, can help you navigate negotiations, can help you navigate through tidewater problems or anything that may arise, and can also make sure that you're not being taken advantage through contingencies or clever little wordings that are ultimately gonna either make you lose on a deal or ultimately make you win the deal. On the sell side, ditto. Your agent is there to, number one, make sure you list a home at the right price for it to sell, but to also not lose money. Because you can take a $400,000 listing, put it at $300,000, it's gonna sell. But how much money did you leave on the table? That's where your agents come in. They also come in with the same things, contract helps, making sure that the offers that are coming in are good offers with good contingencies and that everything is in working order. Negotiations, that's another big part of it. Somebody is always gonna try to lowball you. So how do we navigate those negotiations? Appraisals and tidewaters. If you don't know what a tidewater is, I'll give you a little quick snip. Sometimes a home is suspected of being appraised lower than what's being asked for. So they set out a tidewater and they give agents a chance to put some comps together and justify why we're asking that price or why that price is being offered, blah, blah, blah. Don't want to get too deep into it, but that's what I mean by that. And also communication. Do you really want to deal with, as a consumer, with the tens of thousands of emails that you have to deal with when you're on either side? When you're on the buy side, you got to send out a bunch of emails and send out a bunch of appointments and organize everything to make sure we can see the house and get everything we want on that end. And on the sales side, vice versa. You've got to deal with all the emails of the showings, of the schedulings, of the offers, of the shady offers that are coming through that you might think it's actually a legitimate offer, but when you read the contract and you analyze the contract, you realize this is a losing deal. This is the importance of why you got an agent, and this is also why the National Association of Realtors is making any type of moves, is to ultimately protect the consumers. So let's dive a little bit deeper into the consumer buy side, the consumer sell side, and see what we can get out of it. My dear consumer, do you need a real estate agent to buy a house? The answer is no. You don't need a real estate agent to buy a house. You don't need a contractor to remodel your kitchen. You can do that yourself. You don't need an attorney to represent you in court. You can actually do that yourself as well. You don't need a CPA to do your taxes. You can do those yourself as well. The question is, why do we seek out professionals? Well, it's because they have a level of expertise and knowledge that the average population does not. And in certain cases, it is always valuable to have a professional on your side. And real estate is one of those cases. Now, if you were an ex-real estate agent and you know exactly what you need to do to be able to navigate the showings, to navigate the contracts, to navigate the negotiations, to navigate the inspections, to navigate the closing process, then you really don't need a real estate agent. You've got all you need. You have that knowledge. But for the majority of the population, there's a lot of value to having a real estate professional on your side. For example, a realtor, their value on the buy side is supposed to be finding the home that meets your criteria throughout all of the platforms and all of the portals that we have available. Securing and organizing all of the showings in a timely manner that is convenient for you and your schedule. To ensure that once we do find the home, the contract is written correctly and the terms are written correctly, because it really only takes one or two terms or $1 or $2 in the wrong place to cost you thousands of dollars. To also navigate the inspections, be able to identify what needs to be fixed, what can be let go, and how do we negotiate that in the buy of the home itself. To navigate WDO inspections. In some states, such as Florida, WDO inspections are very important. If you're in a FHA loan or a VA loan, they're mandatory. I personally think everybody should have a WDO inspection before purchasing any home in the state of Florida. But to help you navigate those terms, what's, wood-destroying organism is what WDO stands for. What's a wood-destroying fungus? What is a wood-destroying insect, i.e. termites? What kind of termites? How do we get rid of them? How secure are we that they're gone? All of that information can come from your real estate agent that has had experience in Florida and everything that they deal with here. And then finally getting that deal to the closing table and making sure that we're good. And I'm not even mentioning navigating an appraisal that came in wrong. So now you have to do that section too, of finding comps that justify the price. All of these things are what your real estate agent or your realtor is supposed to do for you. That's where the value lies. And that's also part of what the National Association of Realtors is trying to do, is to ensure that our consumers get value from the professionals that they hire. Now, whether that comes through the form of compensation on the sales side, or nowadays compensation from our client themselves, there has to be a value there. Because if all they're doing is waiting for you to tell them, hey, I like this house on Realtor, they make an appointment and open the door, there's not much value there. So as a consumer, that's what you need to be looking for. What can you offer me? Because there's a potential that the home of your dreams does not offer compensation, and you may have to pay this professional out of pocket. So what are you going to bring to the table that is going to make my experience seamless, very professional, and get it done the right way at the right price? All right, moving on. Sales side. I know it sounds really attractive to be able to sell your home and not give the buyer's agent any type of compensation. And I get where you're coming from. I mean, they don't work for you, your seller agent works for you, but in reality, a buyer's agent also works for you, because without a buyer, you can't sell your home, point blank. The other side of it is historically just the numbers. Homes that don't offer buyer compensations sit longer on the market, receive less offers, and receive less showings. And I've said it a million times, I don't agree with that behavior as far as agents go. If I'm not going to show this house to my client because they don't offer compensation. If it's the perfect house for them and it fits every single one of their criterias, show the house. Secure yourself a compensation otherwise. Either negotiate it with the seller side or negotiate it with your client themselves. Don't do that to them. That's a disservice. However, the reality is that's what the numbers show. So as a seller, are you really going to, handicap yourself that way? Because let's face it, if the house doesn't sell, the house isn't moving, you're going to have to make a price drop. Usually a price drop is about $5,000 to $10,000. There's the buyer compensation right there. If you would have left the house at the price it was and offered some buyer compensation, you might have sold it at that price. I personally, as a seller's agent, like I said in the beginning of the video, I believe, we should continue business as usual. Offer a split. Everything that has been working so far, let it continue working. If you have a client that is extremely difficult, make sure that you are clear and show them the numbers. Hey, look, these homes that are offering, 1%, 0.5%, or 0% compensation, they've been on the market 190, 180 days. They're not moving because they're getting less showings and they're getting less offers. And, more than likely what you're going to get is a low ball offer from an investor. Make sure you communicate effectively to your clients. I'm getting the same feeling when it comes to the brokerage. All the experienced agents feel the same way. It's like, if it ain't broke, why fix it? So they're still going to continue to, inform their clients that they should offer seller compensation. And I couldn't agree more. In conclusion, there's no real telling what the future holds. Could this just be, one extra piece of paper and then business as usual? Or could the new norm be sellers no longer pay buyer commissions and buyers have to now buyers agents have to now petition commission off of their clients? There's no real telling until time and data does its thing. For me personally, I think it's just going to be business as usual, one extra piece of paper. Those who don't want to do the extra legwork can be on their way. But other than that, I am interested to see if anybody has an opinion on it. So if this video did catch you, go ahead and put something down in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Other than that, this has been Angel, your real estate guardian. Give me a call.